Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 6, text number 29. Raktakanta Kaganika Swaramandita Satpadam Kalahamsa Kulaspreshtham Karadhanda Jalashayam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In the celestial forest, there were many birds whose necks were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swans as well as strong-stemmed lotus flowers. Purport. The beauty of the forest was intensified by the presence of various lakes. It is described herein that the lakes were decorated with lotus flowers, and the swans who played and sang with the birds and humming bees. Considering all these attributes, one can imagine how beautiful this spot was and how much the demigods passing through enjoyed the atmosphere. There are many paths and beautiful spots created by man on this planet Earth. None of them can surpass those of the Kailasa, as they described in these verses. So here is a further description of Kailasa. The demigods passed over the forest, which were full of varieties of flowers, fruits and desired trees. And these forests were full of birds whose necks were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with the humming of the bees. The lakes were abundantly decorated with crying swans as well as strong-stemmed lotus flowers. So Prabhupada says that on the planet, the man also creates kind of resorts, and the idea is to give that same pleasure. Material existence and spiritual existence are full of pleasant sights, smells, taste, touch, sounds. Because this is Lord's creation, Lord's variegatedness. And material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Just see how in these descriptions you see the demigods as they are moving, they are feeling a lot of enjoyment. Lot of enjoyment. Why do they feel that enjoyment? Because they sense objects, the nice sounds, nice sights, nice smell. Lakes, animals singing, the birds singing, birds flying. Even if somebody has billions of dollars, he creates a resort, he can't get all this. Because you cannot guarantee that in your small place all these birds will come. How many varieties of birds are there even in this material world? We wouldn't even have known about it if not for WhatsApp. So one WhatsApp, about 3 years back, about 500 types of birds, all so beautiful. Multicolored. So it's all Krishna's creation in this material world. And imagine what's in Kailasa. If it is like that, if people can capture here such photographs. And each of their singing is different. Very pleasant to the mind to hear those sounds. the fragrance of the forest flowers. So it all titillates the brain and it releases pleasure chemicals, feel-good chemicals in the head. In the material world, of course, you see this and then it's converted into pleasure chemicals, and from there it becomes a perception. In the spiritual world, there's nothing like it goes in and then it goes on the retina and then it gets converted to electrical signals, and then finally it goes in the brain, and brain releases some chemicals, and from the chemicals you get it, your mind picks up a feeling, different feeling. All this is not there. This is a phenomena which is duplicating the spiritual body. The spiritual, what you see is see. Just like when you see a beautiful bird, you are not thinking of the process of conversion. Okay, I've seen the bird, now it is on my retina. Now the bird has vanished. It has turned into signals. The bird vanishes. As soon as the bird falls on your retina, image has gone already. What is the image is converted to? Signals. And finally, how it gets reconstructed? It gets reconstructed. So it goes through a whole material phenomena. We have to see. If we have to see. If Krishna were to see here something, all these things are not real. He just sees directly. Just like how we are wishing to see. How we are wishing to see. Directly. Oh, yeah, I saw this. I saw this bird, you will say. You may say so, but the reality is what? Reality is it's converted and then finally it is reconstructed and then you are seeing the bird. But if in the spiritual body, when you see, there is no conversion at all, you directly see as you should see. So even the material world, we have only indirect access. So wonderful things are there the Lord has created for sensations. Existence is full of pleasure, anandamayobhyasat, pleasure is the basis. Feel good is the basis, I wouldn't say pleasure, feel good is the basis. Varieties of feel good is what? Varieties of sensations. Pleasure sensations. For the eyes, nose, throat, nose, tongue, skin, ears, mind. Similarly, there is pleasure for, these is pleasure sensations from the senses, sensual pleasures. Through sensual pleasures, sense object and senses, we get sense of, we feel good about it. Whatever we feel good, we'll go after it. Soul takes delight in the material world, in the delights of the body. It's not its direct delight. It's a delight of the body, identifying with the body. Delights of the body is my delight. Then, as we have discussed several times, there are higher selves. Above the senses is the mind. The mind takes delight in love, loving exchanges. Senses are directly giving us sensation, pleasurable sensations. The mind is giving us loving sensations. Somebody affectionately treats you, kindly treats you, takes care of you, tries to please you, you get what? You get emotional, feel good. That is also feel good only. Feel good. There is only one feel good. The soul wants delight. One feel good, colored as pleasure sensation. Another feel good, colored as love, affection, care, intimacy, confidentiality, trust. These are all relational pleasures. Then varieties. Love means 5 kinds of love. Shanta rasa, dasi rasa, sakya rasa, vatsalya rasa, madhurya rasa. These are all experienced by the mind body, mental body. Then the intellectual body, intellectual self is higher than the mental self. An intellectual body is, what are the pleasures of the intellectual body? The pleasures of the intellectual body is knowledge. You feel good when you gain knowledge. You feel good when you discover things. You feel good when you harmoniously you understand everything. When you get a big picture, you feel good. When your curiosity is satisfied, you feel good. These are all the pleasure sensations of the intellectual body. Correspondingly, there is opposite also. In each of these, there is material world, there is pleasurable sensations of the senses, and there are also painful sensations. Nice smells are there, and there are horrible smells. Nice smells you call perfume. Bad smells you call stink. Isn't it? Similarly, nice tastes are there, bad tastes are there. Duality. The mental body, love is there, hate is there. People hate. People become envious. All these things are also. In the material world, first I think I am this body. I am this body means I am this body, I am this mind, I am intelligence, I am this bodily ego, social ego. The way the world looks at me, okay, this is Madhu Pandit, yes. This is a social ego. I look at me as others see me. That is social ego. My real ego is there. That is the soul. So when I say I am this body, that means I am the social ego. I have variety. My I am this body can be dominated sometimes by senses, sometimes by mind, sometimes by intellect, sometimes by social ego. If you see your 24 hours, you will see the false ego is dominated sometimes by sensual demands, sometimes by mental demands, emotional demands, sometimes by intellectual demands, sometimes by social ego demands. It is good to observe that we are not always same. Sometimes we want to read, we want to enjoy reading something. After a lot of that is you are feeding your intellect, and then after you're reading, you just want to talk to somebody. Your mind wants now. False ego dominated by the mind. So false ego dominated by intellectual thing. Then false ego dominated by senses. It's not enough the whole day if you are having nice relationship, nice talking and nice reading and everything, then suddenly senses will demand. Main thing senses demand is eating. Let us see. The tongue is the most difficult to control. So whole day we are balancing. Guna Kala Karma is balancing. Something every day for the senses, something every day for few hours you are in the false ego dominated by senses, false ego dominated by mind, false ego dominated by intellect, false ego dominated by social ego. Every day you have to give little pleasure for all this. You are not getting these pleasures, then you will get depressed. You get pleasure and pain. The material world, everything Krishna says that dukkha yonaya, the senses and sense objects, they are all, that kind of pleasure is simply a future pain. Future feel bad. Feel good, feel bad. By Krishna's statement you have to take. Somewhere you have to pay in the form of dukkha for the pain. Or you would have, for the pleasure, or you would have paid already. Doesn't come free. Some tapasya you have done, some hard work you have done. If you have not earned, you cannot get. Today what you have, if you have a body of senses, you have paid for it. That is the nature has given you. Now do we want to foolishly utilize it for sense gratification, or we want to use the human form of life for higher feel good? Actually, when we say in the material world, sukha dukkha is destined, means your feel good, feel bad is destined. It may manifest in some other ways, different things you may be able to manipulate. But you cannot get one drop more feel good than you are destined in this whole life. Whether it is in the form of sense gratification, whether it is form of wealth, whether it is form of loving relationship, whether it is in the form of gaining knowledge, or whether it is in the form of name, fame, adoration from the material world, social rasas, it's all destined. All put together, whatever comes out of it is destined. You cannot change that. Next verse. Vana kunjara sangrishta harichandana vayuna adipunya janastrinam muhur unmatayan manaha. All these atmospheric influences unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and the blowing wind agitated the minds of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment. Purport. Whenever there is a nice atmosphere in the material world, immediately there is an awakening of sexual appetite in the minds of materialistic persons. This tendency is present everywhere within the material world, not only on this earth, but in higher planetary systems as well. In complete contrast with the influence of this atmosphere on the minds of the living entities within the material world is the description of the spiritual world. The women there are hundreds and thousands times more beautiful than women here in this material world. The spiritual atmosphere is also many times better. Yet despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of the denizens do not become agitated, because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritualistic minds of the inhabitants are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of Lord that such enjoyment could not be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is the culmination of all pleasure in the material world. In other words, in Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better facilities, atmosphere and facilities, there is no impetus for sex life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, param drishtva nivartate. The inhabitants are so spiritually enlightened that in the presence of such spirituality, sex life is insignificant. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, great revelation by Srila Prabhupada about what happens in the spiritual world. Understanding this purport is very, very, very important. Very significant point is being mentioned here. What is that? Very nicely Prabhupada is describing that in the spiritual world, the women there are hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in the material world. And the spiritual atmosphere, just like what all we are hearing about Kailasa, spiritual atmosphere is many times better. Now the question is, in fact, this question always, many devotees ask this question. In the material world itself, we are not able to conquer the beauty of the opposite sex. What is the hope for us? Even go to the spiritual world. Spiritual world, there will be so much, 1,000 times more beautiful. Everything is perfect. The answer is here. Because you are tasting, Krishna is the most beautiful, and rasa with Krishna is the most intense. If everybody in the spiritual world is in Krishna Bhakti, their heart is filled with so much of transcendental relationship with Krishna, none of the other anandas are distracting. So the secret here, the secret of controlling the senses is not in controlling the senses. Secret of controlling the senses successfully is not in controlling the senses. A very important principle for bhakti yogis. The secret of controlling the secret of controlling the senses is higher taste of Krishna consciousness. Feed yourself with Krishna consciousness taste. So and this is the only way for us to become, because it's Krishna's creation. Everywhere there is pleasure. You cannot deny that. Oh, there is no pleasure in this, there is no pleasure in this, no pleasure in this. Mayavadis may do that. Because it's in material world, it's a counterfeit pleasure. Partly through jnana they will see actually there is no pleasure. But they cannot sustain that. Moment you come in normal life you lead, your jnana and all goes. Krishna has, you have to be a jnani, you have to run away from everything, ultimately all sense objects. Then only it is possible. It is not possible to be in this material world, give input to your senses and be a jnani and control your senses, not possible. Vaishnavas can do that, because they are experiencing the taste of all tastes, the ocean of all taste. Akila Rasamrta Sindhu, Krishna is considered to be an ocean of rasas. It's very simple. When there is when you are in possession of crores of rupees, 100 rupees is nothing. Similarly, when you are so rich in Krishna consciousness, it doesn't matter 100 rupees. Suppose your salary is 50 rupees a month. 100 rupees is like God. Money is like God. So this is how our mind works. Unless we feed our hearts with Krishna consciousness tastes, higher tastes, it is not possible to overcome the lower tastes. So first we should prepare ourselves with Krishna consciousness. That is how devotees, they engage in service of the Lord. They engage in reading, hearing, all these things. They develop the asset of Krishna consciousness. They awaken that Krishna consciousness happiness, Krishna consciousness pleasure of serving the Lord. Once that is awakened, then this will slowly become insignificant becomes insignificant. This principle from chapter 2.55 onwards, Krishna starts describing the whole thing, and in the purport up to 2.62 or 63, if you go 7-8 verses, Prabhupada explains exactly the same thing. We cannot challenge Krishna's creation. Oh, I will not be attracted by this. No problem. You can say Krishna in the face of Krishna consciousness, this is all insignificant. But you cannot say 100 rupees is not 100 rupees. 100 rupees is 100 rupees. You may have crore, 100 rupees is 100 rupees. It has value, 100 rupees value. But for you it is not important. So in the same way, in the material world, so many varieties of sense gratification are there. That is for those who are not having Krishna consciousness. For those who are having Krishna consciousness, these are like 100 rupees. If it is there also okay, not there also okay. That's how. That also Krishna covers in those verses. How the miseries are, such a person becomes, it does not, misery, he'll tolerate. He doesn't say miseries are not there. It's all right. Very easy to tolerate. If you have only 100 rupees, you lose 50 rupees. Very difficult to tolerate that pain. You have 1 crore rupees, you lost 100 rupees. Difficult to tolerate? No. So tolerance, successful tolerance also comes from, you can tolerate these urges of the senses only if we are rich in Krishna consciousness. So this way, you don't have to fear, oh, when I go to the spiritual world, there'll be beautiful women. So, now it looks like an impossible task. I'll never enter Vaikuntha. No, your logic is wrong. You're thinking of a different process. We are not yogis like that. We are bhakti yogis. We should fill ourselves with Krishna conscious happiness, because that is real happiness. Krishna's beauty, Krishna's strength, that's an art for that. Krishna's beauty cannot be appreciated if you are in Tamoguna. Gunas have to rise up. Krishna conscious happiness cannot be experienced in Tamoguna. Krishna conscious happiness has to be experienced in Sattva-guna. That is why we have all this lifestyle. Simply reading is not enough to experience Krishna consciousness. You have to live a lifestyle. Lifestyle is what? A lifestyle that keeps you in Sattva-guna. A lifestyle that will induce influence of higher gunas, not lower gunas. So automatically that higher taste, the higher guna itself is a taste. Materialism even speaking, higher taste. As I explained in the few verses before, how a subtle concept of, subtle taste of enjoyment the demigods have. That is the taste of pure goodness. Not pure goodness, goodness. And there is that the demigods, after indulging in sex, they feel bad afterwards. Why? Because that sexual intercourse, that pleasure of sense object meeting is under Rajoguna. So it's like a fall down for them from the higher taste, even for demigods. Beautiful, loving exchanges, loving relationship, that is all can be in Sattva-guna also. The sex itself, the senses, agitating the senses itself, exciting the senses and sex indulgence, that is considered to be, they felt morose, because even from their standards, they fall down from their higher guna to lower guna. So again I'll read. Yet despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of the denizens do not become agitated, because in the spiritual world, the spiritualist minds of inhabitants are so much absorbed in the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of the Lord. Chanting the glories of the Lord is a great pleasure. We do not know that pleasure. That pleasure we do not know. Because we have to go to that, to that gunas. Chanting the glories of the Lord, that such enjoyment could not be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is culmination of all pleasure in the material world. In other words, in the Vaikuntha planet, Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better atmosphere and facilities, there is no impetus for sex life. See, all stated as stated in Bhagavad Gita, param drishtva nivartate, 259. Inhabitants are so spiritually enlightened that in the presence of such spirituality, sex life is insignificant. So our hope of controlling the senses, our hope of conquering the Maya is all coming because of Krishna consciousness. What is a higher taste? Higher taste, everybody goes round and round. What is Krishna saying? Higher taste. Principle seems to be exciting. If there is a higher taste, I'll give up lower taste. But what is this higher taste? What is this higher taste? Whole Krishna consciousness is called higher taste. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am eternal. He is eternal. He is the Lord of everything. He is seated in my heart. He wants me. I have to go back to Him. He is all loving. He is all good. Entire existence is for Him. I am for Him. He is a person and He wants relationship with every living entity individually. All these things, Krishna conscious happiness. Now somebody will say, okay, we have all these things, because I am talking now happiness and pleasure series, so I get very good questions. So some devotees ask, yes, all these things are there, but we are not realized, no, Prabhu. Only when we realize, I can experience. But I am not realized. That is the problem for me. All this I know, but I am not realized. Therefore, I am not able to conquer the lower pleasures. Through one example, I will communicate how this is fallacious, wrong logic. It's true. When you realize, happiness is much more. But there is happiness even now. What is that? Just like discovery gives also happiness. Discovery of that something is there, happy thing is there, is first level of happiness. If I say today evening there will be a feast, happiness begins now onwards or not? See, our mind works, please understand. Prabhu, I have not realized feast. Then why are you happy? I have faith. Prabhu told feast, feast is there. There is no feast, huh? Now what's happened? Gone. Happiness is gone. So, happiness begins with hope for happiness. Hope for happiness is also happiness. Hope for pleasure is also first level of pleasure. So, now I'll tell you the example. Suppose you want to go to Bombay. That is your destination. And something wonderful is waiting in Bombay for you. Now you got a ticket, got into the train. Happiness begins. Not simply. There's a reason. Why? Because you got into the train, you know that train will reach there. Similarly, you hear wonderful things about Krishna consciousness, that I am divine servant of the Lord, I am this, I am that, Krishna is this, Krishna is that. All these wonderful things are waiting if you are sitting in the train of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yogi, Bhakti Yoga. If you are in the train of, if you are sitting in the boat of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is the captain of that boat, without jumping off from the boat, if you sit there, while going also, you will be happy or not? But you will be happy only if you realize this. You don't even know I am on the boat. Shraddha. See, Shraddha is so important. Yes, I follow what Prabhupada says. Yes, I will advance. I will go to Krishna. I will experience what is the Shuddha Sattva, what is transcendental taste, all this. It cannot not by me. I cannot go there like that. Because I am in the boat. If you say, I want to go to Bombay by walking, how long it will take? There is a train, okay, or there is a flight, I will go. Similarly, the spiritual master has his whole instruction is a boat of knowledge. As long as I live according to that, my lifestyle according to that, I can be very happy that there is a feast. I can bona fidely, not imaginatively. Just like the devotee was saying, no, unless I have realization, this is all imagination. No. Without realization, if you believe in all those truths and have faith in that you are sitting in the train, that means a sense of feeling that I am disciple of Prabhupada, I am following all these things, and I have a faith that I will get all that. I am not this body realization. I am eternal. I am loving servant of Krishna. I am a beautiful ego. I am constantly protected by the Lord, cared for the Lord, maintained by the Lord. Always helped by the Lord, seated in my heart. And that even now when you are in the train journey itself, you don't have to wait. If a devotee, few years, you will see how the Lord is directed. The very fact that you became devotee, got into the train because of Paramatma in the heart. How so many people are not in the train, I am in the train. Let's say many people are waiting. They do not know, but this is a train. They are jumping all into the wrong trains. But all of them want to go to where there is happiness in life. I am so fortunate, I found out which is a real train, and I am also sitting in the train. How much more happy? This is constant. Every devotee should be the fundamental base of Atmananda, transcendental happiness. And not only that, the Lord has come as the incarnation. You don't have to wait till then. If you are pure, then you can see the Satchidananda deity form. You can experience the Satchidananda in the train. You can experience the Satchidananda Shuddha Nama. So this is not some psyching. This is not some imagination. What you deserve, you please enjoy. We cannot tell somebody outside world that you please feel I am servant of Krishna and be very happy. He say, I don't feel why simply by saying why I should be happy. But to devotees who are actually practicing as servants of Krishna, you say that it's not artificial, it's real. So we have to fill ourselves with this Krishna consciousness, happiness. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hare Krishna. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates.